that. Here we are, back on the lean-to project. If you've been following along, I've already put up 4 columns and 4 beams. I got 2 more to go. Now, these columns are set in because of the way the concrete is shaped. And the reason the concrete is that way, you might have been wondering, is I have a septic tank over here that I did not want the concrete to be covering up my septic tank. So I decided just to make this 20 foot from the building, and over there is 30 foot from the building. So now these columns will be here, but the beams will be the full 30 foot length, sort of cantilever off these columns. So my next step is to figure out where this base plate goes here. So let's get to it. I've got my next base plate here, and as you can see, I don't have any studs coming out of the concrete. What happened was, I forgot they were there, and I come along with my lawnmower, and poof, they were gone. So, what I got to do is figure out where this plate goes, and I cut my holes offset so I can make new bolts. So I'll just be drilling down into this concrete and putting in some anchor studs. So what I have to do is figure out where this plate actually sits so I can mark my holes so I can drill them. And it's kind of a complicated procedure, but hopefully I can explain it while you're watching and you'll be able to understand it. Now, sorry Tamitha, I know you don't know nothing about what's going on, but just hang with me. Okay, what I'm going to do first is measure from my building to the front of this beam, and it looks like it's 19 feet 1 1/4 inch. So let me go over there where that plate's going to sit and make a mark 19 feet 1 1/4, so I'll have that. Okay, I got my nephew holding the tape on the building on that end. Here's 19 feet 1 1/4 to this mark right here. All right, let me draw a line right here. And that will be where my column needs to sit, the front edge of my column. All right, I drew me a line where I want my beam to sit on this plate. So all I'm going to do is set the plate on my black line here, and then I'll drill my holes. But the next step is I got to figure out where this plate sits distance-wise from that column. So let's measure that. All right, I'm right underneath column and beam number 4. So I measured out 19 feet 1 1/4 inch. So let me draw that line. And I hope this is not too confusing, but I want to let you know what I'm doing here. So I'm telling you every step. James is holding that end of the tape. So I'm going to mark where the end of the purlin would be over here. And then I'll center this plate up to match accordingly. All right, let's see if this makes sense. This is the mark I made from there to there. Mine is 2 inches, so now we're in the center of my column. The center of the plate will go in the center of the column. And the white line here represents the face of the column. So the plate will go right there, which is nowhere near where my bolts were, but that's okay. So now I'm going to drill 2 holes right here for my new bolts. Ta-da!
Drill on. Alright, go ahead.
First time I've ever used a drill bit this big. It takes a little bit more drilling than them little 1/4-inch drill bits.
How big is it?
5/8. Time to pound. Felt like it's bottom. I'm not going to go any further. That must have been a deeper hole, but it works. See if my plate fits. Magic. If you've seen my other videos, you know how we've been putting these up. This is the last column to go up. I've got my chain hoist on the top of this scaffold, so let's get it going. Now that I got my last 2 columns up, it's time to figure out the elevation so I can cut them. Now I didn't show it when I put these other 4 columns up, but I used my laser level here to calculate how high each one of them need to be, and I cut them before I put them up, and I'm real happy with the way everything came out. But these are a little bit different because they're not all the way to the end like those, so they're not the same height. So how I've come to figure out where to cut these beams is I've ran a plumb bob to exactly where they're on line with those other two columns. So where that string crosses the beam up there, that will be the same height as where the face of those columns will go. Kind of complicated, but I'll show you how it goes. So what I'm going to do is set me up a scaffold, run this laser across all three, and where that laser crosses up there, I'll mark those columns, take them down and cut them, and I think we'll be good. All right, I've got my laser pretty close to the same elevation that I'm going to need, and all we got to do now is wait for sunset because I can't see. It's too bright for this laser to work. So whenever it gets dark enough, then the laser will shine and we'll mark our lines. Well, I got my beams marked. Took me a day and a half for the wind to calm down. It's much calmer this morning when I woke up before dark because had to have it little dark for that laser beam to show up. When we put it up there a day and a half ago, it was just bouncing all over the place and I just couldn't make a measurement. So got it done today. So next thing we're going to do is pull these beams down, cut them, put them back up, and then put up the cross beams. If you want to see how we did that, you can check out some of my previous videos. So bring you back when we get that done. Well, that completes the welding of this beam to the building. Next I want to put in a brace, little angle brace that goes right under this beam, and I have some scrap material of this. I'm going to go get a cardboard piece to make a pattern, cut that out, and I'll weld that in next. I made a pattern here, and this is the angle that goes between my building and the cross beam. So what I'm going to do is lay it on here, draw a line right here, and then cut that off. Then match that line to here, and then draw it there and cut that off. And then this web here will be to the outside between the beams. Did a pretty good job, but I think I'm going to grind to the line to fix that. But now I'm going to cut this way. Got my piece cut out. Probably should take it up there and test fit it, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and grind to the line. Take this tip off a little bit because that's where my weld is underneath the beam. So let me do that, and then I'll go up there and test fit it. I got it tacked on. Got a gap in a few places, but that's okay. That way I get good penetration. Let's go for it. When I put this tin back up here, I have to cut around my beam. So I'm going to make me a cardboard template to go around that. And the tricky thing is to get it in the right position when I start cutting that tin. So let me start drawing this out and see what happens. This is the bottom of this beam. Made me a cardboard template, best I can figure. It goes on there, somewhere about right there. I made measurements, but I'm not 100% sure it's gonna work. So all I'm gonna do is mark these slots right here. And then I'm going to cut this out, and then cut it out right there. Trial and error. If it don't fit, if I got big holes, I'll fix them somehow. Whatever I get, 100% good enough for me. So let me mark these up and cut them out. Cutting that out was faster than making the pattern. All right, I got this tin up here. Let's see if it fits. That looks pretty good, but I got to get under here. I don't know if I hit that screw hole or not. A little bigger hole here than I wanted, but that's what silicone's for. Let's see if this screw will go in. I don't know where that hole is. Don't fall. What was that?
Do you have something other than the screw in your hand?
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Well, I think I see the hole. Oh, I know what it was now. Well, that was coming out anyway, because I want to put in new screws lower, because if I ever need to pull this off, once my roof is on, I want to make it easy to get those off. So I'm moving all these screws down because I got 8 inches here. But that's on in the original hole. So all I got to do is put all these other screws in and buy some silicone.
Steven, what are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to put this corner on, but it hits the beams up there, so I'm gonna have to notch it off like I did that tin. So let me figure out how to hold this up here and then go make some marks so I can notch that off.
You know I'm going to be holding it.
Yeah. I wish I was on that other scaffold. Made my marks, did some measurements up there, and if I calculated right, this notch will end 5 inches from this corner. So I'm gonna make that mark there and just make a little, try to make this notch smaller than I did on them pieces of tin, because those holes were a little big. So let me make these marks. Cut those out. The moment of truth. Got to stand it up there and see if it fits. I think I'm going to put a screw in here and then go up there with my grinder and fiddle with it till I get it to fit. With the angle of this bar, it's really difficult to hit where this notch needs to be because I put it at the bottom, but because it comes out, then it moves. So I'm just going to go ahead and make this notch bigger and patch it later if I need to. Oh, we're on underneath, but still, yeah, I gotta go another inch at least. Another ½ inch. I'm getting closer. I'm gonna go with this. I like it. That's the old screw hole right there. And then that lines up with that screw hole. Might have to put an extra screw here that wasn't there before, but all right. Now I gotta figure out what screws I need.
Cliffhanger.
Get all the right screws. Well, this video is getting kind of long, so I think I'm going to end it here. Finally got this trim on. This beam is all installed and ready to move on to the next one. So I'll see you next time on My Retired Life.